Hey guys, welcome to another video on Mr. Bottomline podcast. Yes, I'm sitting with my laptop, so more numbers. And hence, for those people who are excited about looking at a lot of numbers and building your Excel models, then this will be a wonderful episode. But for others also, it's not going to be like a lot of math. Anyway, the video is going to be less than 5 minutes in duration. And hence, today I wanted to address this very important topic, which is like whether I should go for a home. How do I finance my home? And should I go for a home loan? If I go for a home loan, how much should I repay? And at what interval should I repay? Or should I not repay and take the tax benefit? So, what are the implications? And in India, a collectivist culture like India, home is always seen as an emotional investment rather than a rational investment. And I've always said that I am the kind of a person who may not be very interested in buying a home or financing it through a loan or something. So, yes, leaving my whims and wishes aside, because many people will continue to see this as an emotional investment, and many people justify by saying, look, not all financial decision has to be like a rational decision. So, yes, I agree with you because our fathers and forefathers have invested in homes, and during their period of time, homes, the investment on a home has multiplied quadruple 10x 15x, and all of that has happened. But reality is very very different from that. So if you're a person who go by a very rational decision of buying a home, then I would suggest delay it as much as possible and finance it not by anything else but by your own money when you have that. But for those who wanted to still go for a home purchase, well, the rest of the videos, but particularly for you guys, of course, it is a bit of numbers, but it's not a lot of numbers. So you do not have to be a math genius and an Excel genius to understand this. So yes, that's the reason why I have my laptop. I have my Excel sheets open. So basically, through this Excel sheet, I'm going to emphasize on what are the primary implications of you taking any sort of prepayment. So we'll look at three case scenarios. So the first case scenario is a scenario when you're just paying your EMIs on time and no prepayment at any intervals in time, and then look at what's the financial implication is going to look like, which means how much of interest you're going to pay. And the second scenario is when you during your first 5 years you aggressively prepay, and then the third scenario is when during the next 5 years, which means for the first 5 years you don't do anything but just pay your EMIs on time. And in the next 5 years, you spend a lot of extra payment. And then the last scenario is when you just pay one EMI extra every year. And what are the implications? So I'm just going to look at my laptop as I speak. Yes, what did we say as the first scenario, which is the default scenario? If you look at it, you're taking a loan amount of 1 crore and then interest rate of 8% because that's what is prevailing. In fact, if you get your loans at 8%, you're lucky. Many people get at 9%, 9.5%. And then let's assume a period of 20 years, and let's say arbitrary starting date, and your compound interest is monthly and your payment frequency is monthly. So net for a 1 crore loan at 8% for 20 years, your monthly payment comes to around 83,644. So now here is assuming when there is no prepayment, you're essentially looking at a total sum of 2 crores and 74,561, which is the principal and interest put together. So that means barring the principal, you're almost paying 1 crore and 74,000. So we'll call it close to 1 crore. So over a period of 20 years, and assuming no repayment at all during the 20 years, you're just sticking to your regular payments on time, you pay almost a crore extra, which is as good as the amount you borrowed. So this is the default scenario, and then we spoke about the three scenarios. Now there are people who go with the assumption that, look, I'm not going to do anything during the first 5 years or 10 years, but during the later part of my prepayment or later part of my loan tenure, I'm going to do aggressive additional payments, and hence that will have a financial implication. Let's look at that particular scenario. So the first 5 years I'm not doing anything. If you see, I'm just making my payments and no additional payments I'm doing, and for 5 years I'm not doing anything. So if I do that, then what happens is I'm paying 1.58 crores, which means 58 lakhs of interest and 1 crore of principal, of course. And my duration gets cut down from 20 years to 10.42 years. So let's consider that as 10 and a half years. So you're able to reduce the tenure by almost 9.5 years. And you're able to reduce the interest outgo by almost 42 lakhs. Now, this is the scenario when people, particularly for people who want to aggressively prepay your home loan during the latter part of the tenure, which is after first 5 years. Now, let's consider first 5 years. People who are particularly serious about making a lot of prepayment during the first 5 years of it. And for those people, if you look at it, the extra payments, they're all front loading it, which means like during the first 5 years, they are getting super aggressive with prepayment. And when they do that, while the years to prepay the entire loan is 8 years. Remember in the previous case where you're getting aggressive in the later part of your loan tenure, your years to repay was around 10.5 years. So not a lot of difference. 8 years and 10.5 years, not much of a difference. But if you look at the interest outgo, in the previous case, your interest outgoes approximately 59 lakhs. And here it is less than half of it, which is 29 lakhs. And hence, I emphasize on the fact that banks tend to front load a lot of interest. If you look at your first few EMIs, let's say your loan tenure is 20 years, and during the first 3 years, you're paying a lot, and then you look at it, okay, I've done like so much of payments, or let's assume not 3 years, but 5 years. You go back and say that, look, I've made a lot of payments, and now how will my principal change? So let me walk you through a simple example without any prepayment. Let's say you pay your EMIs on time for 60 months, that is 5 years. You're able to reduce the principal only by 13 lakhs. So what was taken as 1 crore loan 5 years back has now come down to 87 lakhs. So that means you've almost paid 5 years in entirety on time, but you're able to reduce the principal outstanding by only 13 lakhs, which is why banks and financial institutions traditionally front load a lot of their interest. Because before the customer gets conscious and starts aggressive with their prepayments, they tend to take majority of their earnings, which is interest. So then now look at a very basic scenario. That is, what if I pay just instead of 12 EMIs in a given year, I'm just going to pay 13 EMIs. So one additional EMI per year. So I will be converting the 20-year tenure to 16.5, right? So I'm able to effectively reduce 3.5 years of loan tenure, and my interest outgo is still 80 lakhs. So I'm able to reduce by 20 lakhs, and my loan tenure is reducing by 3.5. So even if you are a person who is saying that, look, paying one additional EMI every month is super difficult for me, because anyway my EMI takes 30-40% of my total pay. So if I pay twice of it, that means that almost 70% is gone. So with what money I will live, with what money I will save, which is the reason why home loans are fundamentally a bad idea. But I understand that home is asset building, and then you have seen a lot of people flourish with home loans. You have seen your parents, your grandparents, and everything. So I understand, like already established, that it is an emotional investment, and sometimes you'll have to look at it this way. So yes, if you aren't very aggressive and you just wanted to have one prepayment every year, one additional EMI every year, you're still able to reduce 20 lakhs. But if you're able to aggressively prepay during the first 5 years, please go for it by all means. Your interest outgo is reducing by almost 70%. But if you're doing the same thing in the later part of the tenure, then you're not reaping a lot of benefits, because your interest is only reducing by 40%, 35%. So yes, guys, that's what I wanted to tell you guys today. It's not a lot of numbers, now you will realize. So fundamentally, I'm just going to close the video with just three things. One is, if you are a person who's very rational and look at your investments as a very rational thing, do not go for a home loan. But if you're an emotional kind, please go for a home loan. It's not that bad a loan. That's number 1 point. And number 2 point, banks and financial institutions always front load their interest as much during the first part of the tenure. So if you wanted to get aggressive with your prepayment, always do it in the first part of the loan tenure, because I just spoke about the benefits of doing that. And the second thing is, even if you can't be aggressive with your prepayments because your finances are very tight, I understand, just try to make one additional prepayment, which will eventually have impact of 20% on your total interest outgo. So yes, thank you guys. I'll do a lot of math like this and try and make you understand why certain financial decisions are good, certain financial decisions are bad. So until I see you on another video, thank you for listening. And yes, if you have not subscribed this channel and you have come this far, certainly there is a reason for you to subscribe. So I'm sure you will go and subscribe the channel, and of course, like my video and dislike my video. Even if you don't find the content good, I'll constantly work on it. Thank you.